Today we are going to be talking about one important document that is very crucial to your grad school application, and it is the statement of purpose. Your statement of purpose is as important as every other document you are going to submit during the application phase. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to write a compelling statement of purpose that the admissions committee will not be able to refuse. I'm going to be sharing with you the structure you have to follow, and I'm also going to be sharing with you my own statement of purpose that I submitted, and I'm going to be reading it to you for you to see those elements embedded. And this is going to help you in terms of writing your own statement of purpose and how you can model it for your own application. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So when it comes to writing your statements of purpose, there is one thing that you need to take note of, and it is how well you can decode what you are asked to write. When you go to your application portal, you go to your program website, and you see where they tell you to write a statement of purpose, not less than 500 words or 750 words or what have you. The ability for you to decode what they need. In some statement of purpose, you will see something around write a statement of purpose that talks about how you well fit into the program and how your experiences has shaped you. Some can even carve it in another way and tell you to explain how you'll be able to cope in grad school. All of these are all encompassing. They want to know how your past experiences have actually shaped you into the person that you are today, and how you are looking forward to actually becoming better with the program that you're actually applying to. Just know that everything that has to do with your statement of purpose is all about storytelling. How well can you tell a convincing and compelling story? And there's nobody that can actually tell your story better than you. Okay? So one of the things that I always tell people to do is for them to write a first draft. It does not have to make sense. Take a notepad, take a pen, and start writing everything that you know that you have done, all of the compliments that you have received from your boss, from your colleagues, from your peers. Start writing them out. If, for example, you organized an event and you got accolades for it, like, oh, this was the best event that I've ever attended. Something actually stood out for me when I was in the audience, and this and this and this is what actually happened. Write all of those things down. Yours might not even be in terms of event organizing. Yours could be in terms of you just doing like a little task, like turning in a paperwork and all of that. And your boss compliments you and says, oh, that is a good job and all that, right? Write everything down, right? And at the end of the day, you can always patch them together and start to sieve the most vital information that is going to help you prepare a solid statement of purpose. Now, this is what I mean. If, for example, I did something, right, and my boss tells me, or write it in a report that says, hey, this is the breakdown of the event that we did and all that, and in the head notes, he types something and says, if you see Ezekiel, tell him that he did a very wonderful job. Congratulate him for a good job, well done. Something around that line. I can decide to pick that and make that my introduction. I can decide to say something around, if you see Ezekiel, tell him that he did a very good job. Congratulations on a job well done, and I close the bracket. And I can say something like, those were the exact words of my boss when I executed a project in less than 3 weeks with less supervision. So that could be my opening sentence because it is a personal experience that has happened to me. Okay, what you want to do basically for your statement of purpose is for you to introduce yourself. And there are different ways in which you can introduce yourself. You can introduce yourself through storytelling. You can introduce yourself through personal experiences. That is why it is like statements of purpose, right? How best can you introduce yourself? By telling your personal story. Okay, so you want to make them feel. That is the point of everything that I've been saying. And your introduction should basically be tied to your purpose, your skills, and your interests, such that anybody that picks up your document will be able to see at first glance, this is what this person is all about. Let me dig deeper into the experiences of this person, okay? Because like it or not, your first sentence or your first paragraph could be a determining factor for the committee to either continue reading your document or just discard it. So you have to win that 8-second rule such that once they see your document, you get them hooked from the beginning. So your introduction should have like your personal experience. This is what drives you, and this is how you are a good fit for the program. So let's get straight into what I submitted, and let me read my introduction for you. So for context, this application document is for a master's program in advocacy, all right, in communication and advocacy. And I'm going to tell you how I use the personal experience to actually usher in my interest in the program. So here's my introduction. As a child, my father subconsciously introduced me to advocacy through his love of the radio program, Kakaki, the African Voice, which focused on pertinent national matters. Upon engaging with different episodes of the program, I was disturbed by the stories of marginalized individuals in some African communities, whose narratives frequently conveyed experiences of pain and anguish. Unknowingly, these stories from my childhood unintentionally set me on a path to advocacy. During my developmental years, I was astute about speaking up against bullying and any perceived injustice in my space. My commitment to these issues earned me the nickname The Law, representing my unwavering proficiency as an activist and contributor to ongoing political conversations in my country. So that alone has already set the pace for why I want to pursue a master's degree in advocacy, right? Because I had to think deep. I'm like, okay, fine. What is that experience that is personal to me that can be good? All right. So it is unlike saying something. You can't start your introduction by saying, according to Lincoln 1998. Those are necessarily not attention grabbing in a way. It is beyond data, right? Data is good, but storytelling is better. But if you now have like the combination of data and storytelling, you will make a perfect application. All right. So you want to ensure that your introduction is good. And how do you make a good introduction? Think deep about certain experiences, certain stories that has actually happened to you or happens to somebody that you know, and infuse it into why you are a good fit for the program. So we are now going to get into like the second structure of your statement of purpose, because we are building it in layers, right? So now we have the introduction. So second, we want to talk about your academic interest. What interests you? What is even your background? What actually qualifies you to apply for this master's program, and why are you a good fit? Because at the end of the day, every layer of your statement of purpose, you are tying it to why you are a good fit for that program, either directly or indirectly. So the second paragraph could now be what you did in your first degree, what inspired you to pursue that first degree, and basically just talk about your interests. So what are those things that influenced your decision to actually go through for your first degree? So let me read to you my second paragraph of my statement of purpose. I graduated from Nigeria's premier university, the University of Ibadan, where I bagged my bachelor's in communication and language arts. I excelled in coursework covering the sociology of communication, public relations, and organizational communication. Also, as an undergraduate, I led the media team at a prominent non-governmental organization committed to community engagement and advocacy efforts. Over 5 years of dedicated service, I spearheaded advocacy campaigns across media platforms, empowering young adults and addressing pressing societal concerns around the sustainable development goals with a focus on education. Did you see in the second paragraph how I was able to pack my relevant experiences into one tiny paragraph, right? It's like subtle, like you are subtle arrogance, but you are not arrogant, you know? So all of those things is what you want to put together. And that is why I said in the beginning of this video that you should have a draft of everything that you have done in this life, including commendations, including good comments, and everything that can actually help you to have a good application process. So in the second paragraph, you realize that I said where my institution was, that's my first degree, what I studied. So what I studied is in line with what I'm looking to study in my second degree. So I established that as well, all right? So what else did I say? I said something about coursework. So I am not new to the world of communication. So I have done like previous coursework in sociology of communication, in organizational communication, and everything in between as regards courses within the program, okay? So I established that. And now it is beyond the four walls of the classroom. I am not just a classroom goer. In terms of extracurricular activities, I was also instrumental in doing some advocacy work in relation to education, okay? And that is where the media, whatever, comes in, where I've been leading like an NGO, you know, how I've been engaging in community engagement, advocacy efforts, empowering young adults, right? Addressing pressing societal concerns with a focus on education. You can see there is consistency with my claims, with what I'm saying. Because first, from the introduction, I said something around how my father introduced me to advocacy through his love for the radio program, Kakaki, the African Voice, right? And how so it's a layer. And then it's earned me the nickname, the law. And now I went to, university for first degree, and I was able to infuse myself in all of these things, right? So that is the second phase of that statement of purpose. Now, this could be different for you because of the word limit that they might ask you to provide, right? And there are general principles that you can infuse into your own statement of purpose while you are putting the whole write-up together. Then this now leads me to the third point in terms of how did I come across this program? Why am I even interested in this program? What makes me a good fit for this program at this particular school? Okay, so now this is where we now go into the third paragraph of my statement of purpose. In my quest to explore my interest in community mobilization and nation building, I discovered James Madison University's graduate program in communication and advocacy, which will equip me with the necessary skills and knowledge to become a better advocate. The program's curriculum will enhance my knowledge of organizational communication, stakeholder engagement, strategic planning, and research. Also, the program's faculty will provide valuable insights beyond the scope of traditional textbooks, enabling me to address real-world difficulties effectively. The research undertaken by Professors XYZ and ABC has provided valuable insights into pedagogy and societal disputes. This aligns perfectly with my career and professional interest in finding the most effective way to ensure community development through community engagement and inclusion, as their mentorship will be highly instrumental in ensuring the actualization of this goal. So I've been able to pack everything in terms of what actually, pushed me. How did I even come about this school? There are different schools in the whole of the US. Why this particular one? Then I single-handedly said that it is my interest in community mobilization and nation building. Because I have had experience in all of those, I'm like, my interest, let me actually explore this interest further. Then that is when I discovered the school that I'm applying to. And then I did not just discover this school, I talked about the program that I'm going for, right? So this program now, how is it going to help me as a person? How is it going to help me as a professional? And more importantly, how is it going to help me as a scholar? So that is when I now took a look at the faculty members. Oh, which professor, who is actually doing this? Is there any of their research that I'm interested in? Or does my research interest even tie to what they've been working on or what they have worked on before? Professors actually like it when you actually mention their work, particularly their research. It shows that you are a diligent student, you've done your own work, and you've gone ahead to say, I don't just want to work with any lecturer. I want to work directly with this particular professor because the professor's work in this and this is going to help me become this and this. And you might even take it a notch higher and say, I've realized the gap in this research, and the perspective that I am bringing, particularly as an international student, is going to gauge this gap, and I'm looking forward to being mentored by them. You are not rubbishing their work. You are not telling them that what they did is, because they also want to be challenged with this work. Like, okay, I like the perspective that you are taking with this. I like the fact that you are taking it with this and all that. But how about we take a look at this from this angle, from this part or from this percentage, or maybe you have your data, you have your statistics, you present it like that as well, right? So you are building such layers. We've talked about introduction. We've talked about your academic experience in terms of your first degree and all that. And now we've talked about what actually inspired you to apply to that program. Now, let's now go ahead to talk about your long-term goals, right? So you want to tie your long-term goals to your statement of purpose. So you are coming from that place of personal experience to academic experience, right? You are talking about like your professional experience as well, infusing all of those, the program interest. Now, at the end of the day, what is this program going to do for you? My fourth paragraph. So I said, ultimately, my ambition is to leverage communication as a powerful tool for advocacy through community mobilization for nation building. Remember that I've said this before? I'm reiterating it again here. Through a personal initiative, I collaborated with XYZ, a grassroots local government in Lagos State, to establish an empowerment program tagged Digital Literacy Training. As part of the project, I coached 50 youths in my community to leverage digital skills for the workplace. The program distributed 10 new computers generously supplied by this person who appreciated this initiative. This effort earned me the 2022 Founders Award from a group of African-oriented intellectuals dedicated to advocacy supporting the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, in the first paragraph, I have said my long-term goals, that this is what I want to do with this program, maybe in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years. But I'm not just talking about what I want to do. I immediately put in what I have done to make me an authority and to make me credible that this is not just something vague. That if I can do this, then with this program I'll be able to do more. And then I added receipts of what I have done. They were talking numbers. Oh, I did a training, collaborated with this person, right? It earned me this award. Then, about 50 youths came, in the number of days and all that. So these are like tangible receipts that you can see. And when I was talking about this, I was infusing the hyperlink in there. If they doubt it, they can click it and then they can see, right? So those are some of the things that you want to infuse and just see that you have a very robust statement of purpose, okay? So all of your experiences and all that must not go to waste. Now, how do you conclude? Remember that the fourth paragraph, I've actually said something around, this is what I want to do with this degree and all that. And in my fifth paragraph, I want to make it more specific. So that is why I want to talk about my future aspirations. So I'm not going to conclude in a way that I am not begging. Because trust me, you're also an asset. You are also good. These people also want you, all right? So what you want to do now is for you to become more specific with what your future aspirations are and why, again, you are a good fit for the program you are going for. My final paragraph says, upon completing my degree, I look forward to expanding the frontiers of XYZ, where members will be taught how to carry out proper advocacy in employing diplomacy, rhetoric, and digital technology to enhance social change in their societies. I'm a social reformist and a community service enthusiast with boundless energy and personality traits that define me as focused, creative, and industrious. I hope my background and professional aspirations will be enough to earn me this life-changing opportunity in pursuance of this noble mission. I have looked extensively at institutions that can provide a platform to develop this interest further, and James Madison University is one of the best institutions that can help me achieve this goal. So you construct everything in a way that shows some sort of reiteration again. Some of these things, I have said them in some previous layers, in some previous paragraph, but just for emphasis sake, I want to add it again to the conclusion, because like it or not, your introduction, your body, your conclusion, those are like the three parameters for your statement of purpose. But more importantly, your introduction and your conclusion, how you begin and how you end, is actually going to leave a lasting impact to whoever is reading your application document. You realize I didn't say something like, I hope to hear from you soon. I hope my application will be considered. You are not saying that you are closing as a badass. You are closing as somebody who is actually good at what they do. And that is how you actually write a compelling statement of purpose. I hope you found this video useful. If it has been useful to you, share it with anyone you know that is applying for grad school in the next application cycle, and they will thank you for it. Do ensure to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all of those good stuff, and I'm going to see you in the next video.